Welcome back to another review by Mega Train Leather. Today we're having a look at the third loco which I got at the London Festival of Variety Modelling, and this, as you can see, is another Bachmann model, but you can also tell it's in a much older packaging, and that's because it's not the most modern model in the world, but nonetheless it still looks really nice. Anyway, you can probably tell from the picture on the box that this is a Mogul. As you can see, what the DCC Ready sticker does hide the front pony truck, and you can see the 6 driving wheels. To be more specific, this is a British Rail Standard Class 4 MT 260. If we turn to the side, product code 32-951, standard Class 4 MT 260 76069 in BR black with a BR1B tender, and it has the laid crest. So the locomotive is not actually in the box. I've taken it out. I've DCC'd it. The model itself takes an 8-pin decoder, and this one, as you might have guessed, I got second hand at a really good price. I've been after one of these models for a long time, but coming across these is a little bit tricky because they do seem to be quite popular, and well, anyway, I've noticed on eBay anyway. But of this particular version, there isn't an awful lot which I have found. But you know, I'm glad to have finally found one and place it in my collection. Now, the BR Standard Class 4260. So there were 115 of these built by British Railways to the design of R.A. Riddles between 1952 and 1957. 45 of them were built at Horwich Works, 25 at Doncaster, and 45 were built at Derby, making a total of 115 engines. They were built primarily for mixed traffic, as their name suggests, and they were built for sort of lightweight mainline duties, as denoted by their Class 4 classification. Now, in common with all other standards, these locos really didn't have a very long working life. In fact, withdrawals started in about 1962-ish, and they carried on right up until 1967. So obviously, you know, some of these locos were barely 10 years old and they were withdrawn, which is just, obviously sounds very ludicrous, but you know, that was just BR's policy at the time. It's very questionable why they built almost 1,000 new steam engines only for them to be withdrawn within 10 years. Oh well. Anyway, there are 4 of these engines preserved. All 4, unusually, were built at Horwich. So this is a Doncaster design. Majority were built at Doncaster, but all 4 which are preserved were built at Horwich Works. All 4 of them also came from Barry Scrapyard, which of course is a very famous scrapyard known for saving steam engines. The 4 preserved are 76017, which is preserved at the Mid-Hants Railway. There is 76077, which is at the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Railway, though currently is undergoing restoration. Then there is probably the most famous member of the class, which is 76079, which was mainline registered in the past, and nowadays works on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. And then the 4th preserved example is 76084, which is mainline preserved and is preserved at the North Norfolk Railway. So, not too many preserved, you know, 4 of them, but at least we have some preserved of this class. Anyway, let's put the box to one side. I'm going to take a look at the engine. Now here is the engine. The tender is just up there, and you can tell that it's not a permanent connection. It's one of the older sort of connectors where there's a pin in the tender and it goes in and it slots into these 2 holes. The front one's for close coupling, the rear one is what you would use for track running. But anyway, here's the loco. Wow. Wow. Just look at her. Now, I will start by saying these discs I added myself. They don't come in the detail pack. I just found them, and seeing as some of these did work on the Southern, I fitted them myself. Although I don't think this particular one worked on the Southern. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it it looks nice. Anyway, let's have a look at the model itself. It looks really nice. For such an old model, I mean, this tooling's almost 20 years old really. It looks really nice. You get sprung buffers on the engine, which is a really nice touch, and you get all this pipe work around the cab, the whistle, which is typical of the standards. Lots of the components on the standard classes were pretty exposed for ease of maintenance, and they've all been modelled really well. Now I can see there is a bit of tiny bit of moulded detail in places, but for a model of this age, that can be overlooked somewhat. But the rest of the detail more than makes up for it. But it is a really nice looking model. I love the gap between the sort of the boiler and the what was it called, the wheels. That is a very nice touch. For Bachmann to pull that off is it's a very nice achievement. You get the cylinder cocks. I think those came in the detail pack. This was a pre-owned model, so the detail, like this brake pipe at the front, was already pre-fitted. But yeah, I mean, it looks really nice. The wheels look really nice. I also love the reversing rod, which connects obviously to the valve gear and goes into the cab. That's a really nice touch. You get the safety valves there, and again the whistle. You get the dome. There's the number 76069. Let's have a look in the cab. The cab looks really nice. So you get the painted pipe work and some of the gauges as well. Obviously it's not up to the same standards as modern cabs, but again, for a model of this age, it's totally acceptable. At the time this must have been like incredible detail, but yeah, overall it is a really nice looking model. I love the livery. Obviously British Railways black with red lining. It's a really nice looking livery. You get the injector pipe work beneath the cab, which is all really nice and intricate. And considering and it's not a big engine, but it does have quite a bit of weight to it. It won't really have any trouble with traction, I don't think. So yeah, really nice looking engine. Let's have a quick look at the tender. So the tender is right here, which is a BR1A tender. It looks really nice. And there's the front. You can see you get I think one of them is the handbrake, the other one is the water scoop. That looks really nice. Speaking of the water scoop, you can see this has been modelled. Again, very nice touch. That is something which you don't see from above, so the fact that they've included that is really nice. You get sprung buffers on the back of the tender as well. You get separately fitted ladder, which is really nice. Also the ladder is not too flimsy, which is really nice. It's good to have detail which is not too fragile. Obviously don't start chucking this about, because you will start to damage it, but don't do that. But it's always secure knowing that if you accidentally sort of handle this model incorrectly, that detail is very unlikely to sort of snap off. But obviously always be careful with your models. That's number one rule. You get the late crest, which is modelled really nicely. You get the coal. The coal looks a little bit looks alright. Obviously it's not real coal, but I suppose you can remove this and fit coal of your own. Yeah, obviously it's not too much to talk about. It's the tender of the locomotive. Underneath is the pin where the bar on the engine slots into, and yeah, it's obviously this is before the days when Bachmann put the decoder in the tender, so obviously it's all in the engine. But yeah, so overall, it looks really nice considering the age of the model. But looks maybe one thing. Let's see how she performs. So So here we have the Bachmann BR Standard Class 4 MT 260 on the track. And what we're going to do now is we're going to input her number, which for me is number 45, and watch her go. And away she goes. Wow. Yeah, for a model of its age, it's running really well. Obviously it's not like an extremely old model from the 70s, but still, it's not the most recent model in the world, but it is running really, really nicely. Let's get a few shots of her passing. Yeah, and I just love the way the valve gear's rotating and moving about. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Just to conclude this video, very highly recommended. Obviously you can't really get her nowadays, but you know, if you can get hold of one, I would definitely go for it, especially if it's at a good price. Yeah, really, really nice model. Maybe old, but it may not be the best detailed model, but you know, it's still really, really nice. But yeah, for its age, really, really nice. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next review. Goodbye.